Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, in this video I'm going to be showing you a updated version of the classic Banner of War One-Two Punch build. Thanks to the Wormgod buffs, this build has gotten even more broken. So, you know, before people are two-man in Crota, they're just deleting everything with One-Two Punch and Banner of War because of how just stupid broken it was with Syntho. And this season, Bungie decided to make it better. So, yeah, this build is basically just going to be showing you what you want to be running on a new version of this. I'll be honest, it's very just straightforward. You don't have to really use anything. All you need is Banner of War, One-Two Punch, and Wormgod. That's pretty much it. You're pretty much good after that. But I'm going to be throwing in a few extra things that got buffed, like the Edge of Action, because Wormgod is just that strong that you can pretty much do whatever you like with any form of melee in any form of content. I will have a bit of gameplay, if I didn't already show it at the start, at the end, of just Coil on the max difficulty. Personally, it's not very difficult, but I know that people are struggling, so a build like this will just make it like a regular patrol. You can melee bosses to death with a Glaive, just standing in front of them, and you'll never die, so, you know, it's really good. But yeah, the Wormgod build, Wormgod buff, sorry, is really awesome. So basically what they did is that they made it so that any kill with any form of melee or finisher will grant the melee damage bonus. But instead of it lasting like a flat 5 seconds where you need to get a kill in between to keep that 5 seconds up, it's like a bar now. It's got like, it's kind of like an armor charge timer, and it takes quite a while for it to decay actually, and any kill gives a massive chunk back of that timer. There isn't actually a real timer now, it's just a bar, so I don't really know how long it lasts, but it's really good. It's basically just Wormgod as they were, but with a longer timer. On top of that, when you have higher levels of Burning Fists, you actually get weapon damage as well. Can't say how much weapon damage that is yet, but it's probably like 15%, 20%. Not sure if it stacks with anything yet, because I don't know if they are classing it as a surge or a radiant buff, or the buff like Font of Might where it just kind of stacks with everything. Don't know. So yeah, but that's Wormgod Caress. Really good exotic now. Basically Syntho on crack. No reason not to be using this if you're, you know, an avid Titan meleeer. It's really good. So yeah. Now, as for Edge of Action, this thing got buffed pretty heavily. So Glaives as a whole got buffed. The projectile does way more damage. It's a lot faster as well. Glaives as a whole just feel better. But on top of that, the shield will automatically regen over time as long as you have the Glaive out. Now, what this means is that you no longer have to actually shoot enemies with the Glaive to get the bubble. And on top of this, they made it so that you don't actually need ammo to shoot the bubble. As long as you have full shield, you can shoot that bubble regardless of if you have ammo or not. So basically, you could sit in a corner, not shoot anything, and get bubbles, right, for free. Which is really good for endgame, it's really good for GMs, it's just really good for survivability in general, because the bubble gives you a void overshield that can be infinitely refreshed as long as you're running through the shield. It also is giving that shield to allies. It's also just really good cover because, you know, enemies have to shoot the bubble and destroy the bubble to actually get to you, and if they walk in, you can just melee them with the really stupid high melee damage build. On top of that, I'm not sure if I just mentioned, I already forgot, but it gives you weapon damage now, and I don't know if that stacks with everything as well. I'm not really sure what they're classing this as, but it's probably about 15-20% as well. Which is just really nice in general for really anything, especially since it works for allies. They can just walk in and get a damage buff for free, so that's good. On top of this, obviously, it is a Glaive, so it's very melee heavy, and I'm gonna be real, with Banner of War and Wormgod Caress, this thing chunks. It does really big numbers. Again, I'll have gameplay of Coil at the end, and literally, I just sat in front of one of the bosses and just meleeed them with the Glaive, and it killed them. And no one else was doing damage because the other guy was dead, and it was just me and that one guy in the session. So that's a good example of what you'll be seeing with this build. Obviously, you can just bubble under the feet of a boss so they can't stomp you anymore. and because of Banner of War heals, you're pretty difficult to kill, especially with Woven Mail as well, and 100 resi. It's just, you know, you're stacking all this stuff on and you're just an unkillable god. Of course, this is a Banner of War build with One-Two Punch, so you can also do damage that way, and that's really, really good damage because neither of those got nerfed. And yeah, with Wormgod Crest, it's just even stronger, so it's done. As for the subclass, very straightforward. You can just copy this, I guess, or just use whatever you like. All you need is Banner of War again, grapple, and then something to get your grapple back faster. So I have Thread of Generation to get grenade ability back faster. I also have Thread of Transmutation just to get a free tangle every now and then, which will refresh my grapple if I, grapple to it. Which is really nice. And I also have Woven Mail from Into the Fray because I don't have the one for picking up orbs, because I like to have Suspend for GMs, and I also like to have Unraveling for the Cataphract, because I really like to use this heavy. You don't have to use this heavy, you can run whatever you like. I just like to use this one because it's really strong. And that's pretty much the build. There isn't anything else to say. As for mods, use whatever you like. I like to have, since I'm using double special, I guess in this case, I like to have scavs, a little bit of extra reserves for weapons that match elements. So in this case I have Cataphract and Swordbreaker, so that's just nice to have a bit of extra ammo for them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There isn't anything else to say. The build is, again, pretty much the same as it was before, just stronger with Wormgod. I'll have gameplay of, just melee and stuff, showing you the survivability and showing you the glaive. Yeah, let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoy this. Let me know what you think of the Edge of Action buff as well, and the glaive buff, and the Wormgod buff. And let me know what other builds you'd like to see. So thanks for watching. Adios.